Alright guys, this is not a clickbait, I am for real. Here's the proof. I achieved a B2 level in French in just 3 exams, which is equivalent to a 6 to 6.5 in IELTS. For those unfamiliar, B2 means you're pretty comfortable with complex conversations, which is a big deal because you're starting from scratch. And I'm here to prove to you guys that it is 100% possible to acquire a new language within 6 months. If I can do it, then I guarantee you can do it. For sure. So today I'm gonna break down the learning process step by step and help you learn a completely new language within 6 months. Alright, stage 1, the fundamentals. The basic elements of a language are pronunciation, 3-year-old grammar, and 6-year-old vocabulary. For this section, you will need to buy a beginner levels language textbook. For French, I bought Taxi A1. A children's book, I bought The Little Prince, which was not the best option since it's not that childish. You gotta get yourself a kid's book, something really simple. So every language has a pronunciation system. For Chinese, we have pinyin. For Japanese, there's the hiragana chart. For French, luckily, it still uses the alphabet, so all I had to learn was how to say A, B, C, D in a different way. Your goal here is to reach the level where you can pronounce any word you see. Next, grammar can be a little bit complicated. It depends on what language you're learning. If you're learning Chinese, forget about grammar because we don't have that many rules. And you can be super creative with Chinese by placing nouns, verbs, and adjectives in any possible way, and the sentence will still make sense. On the other hand, if you're learning French, ooh la la, it's gonna be a bit of a nightmare, but don't worry, we can break it down. So first you gotta ignore the fancy grammar structures and stick to the basics. Like English, if there are tenses, just focus on the present, the past, and the future. Forget about the fancy ones like present perfect or past continuous. What the fuck is that? Just stick to the basic tenses. And if there are verb conjugations, memorize the essential ones. Try to practice placing nouns, verbs, and adjectives in very simple sentences. This part should be covered by the beginner level textbook that I mentioned earlier. Next, try to read a couple pages of children's book every day and focus on pronouncing the words and identifying the grammar, the tenses, and the placement of nouns and verbs. And most importantly, you gotta note down 10 words every day to build your vocabulary. For English, the essential vocabulary for daily life is around 500 to 1,000 words. It includes basic greetings, numbers, common verbs, basic nouns, and some adjectives. And with this pace, you'll learn 1,000 words in 3 months, which is pretty good. Okay, so for stage 1, just learn the basics. You'll be able to do it all by yourself. If there are words you don't know how to pronounce, go online. There are tons of resources online. Cool, now let's move on to stage 2. By now, you kind of understand how the language works, but you might not feel confident enough to introduce yourself. This is where you will need external help. You need a coach to efficiently reach the next level. And finding a legit French teacher was a pain in the ass for me. The only trustworthy company I could find was Alliance Française, because they're the association that issues the French exams. So they have to be legit. They have offices all over the world and the classrooms are nice and comfy. You guys think I'm doing a sponsor, eh? No, I'm not. And their classes are hella expensive. I tried 2 classes with them and honestly, they weren't that great. First, I had to make appointments through a messaging app, back and forth with the receptionist. Then I had to drive to class in the freezing cold winter. And I couldn't just say, I don't like the teacher, because there weren't many to choose from in the first place. Plus, I had to pay for 10 classes in advance, so I was kind of stuck. Then I came across italki, and now you might think that they're sponsoring this video. And yes, they are. But hold your horses and hear me out. Check this out. This is my italki account. I've clocked in 184 hours to learn French. On italki, you can search for teachers worldwide, and you can have a 30-minute trial class. And if you don't vibe with the teacher, ciao ciao, see ya, or maybe you'll find the right teacher in no time. And italki app is super user-friendly. The schedules are clear and flexible. I mean, it's 2024, so when I want to book a class, I want to know if the teacher is available next Tuesday at 5 p.m. immediately. None of that back and forth messaging the receptionist nonsense. Learning a language takes a lot of time and effort, so I don't want to waste a single minute on driving to a classroom, because a 20 minutes drive plus parking is an hour lost. With italki, I can take classes whenever I want. Another good thing about this is it's less intimidating, because speaking a new language in a classroom setting can be quite nerve-wracking. I'd rather be at home, in my comfortable living room, on the sofa, and if I'm stuck on a sentence, I can always, blame the internet. And most importantly, italki is reasonably priced. Classes ranges from $10 to $20 depending on the teacher. It's a great app that helped me a lot, and I've made some great friends there too. So if you guys want to try out italki, now you can use the code JC2024 and you will get a $5 coupon. All right, next I want to talk about finding the right teacher, because there are tons of teachers on italki. And how do you find the right one? I've taken classes with at least 10 teachers, and each experience was different because you need different types of teachers for different stages of your journey. At the initial stage, you want a teacher who specializes in beginners. It helps if they've learned a foreign language themselves as an adult, because they'll know how frustrating it can be. So they'll have more patience with you. And the next stage, the intermediate stage, is when you're confident introducing yourself and you know the basics, the in and outs of the language. So now you want to find a teacher who's fun to talk to. And for this part, I suggest to look for what italki calls community tutors. They're not professional teachers, but they're great conversational partners. Forget about finding a teacher. Try to imagine you're looking for a new friend. Watch the intro videos and see who catches your interest. I had a French teacher who lived in the mountains in Japan's countryside. He had like cool tats all over his body, like even up to his neck. And we had some really interesting conversations. This kind of communication is crucial because language isn't just about words and phrases. It's about values, lifestyle, philosophy, and culture, and much more. And speaking with a native speaker will help you understand these deeper elements. People often ask me how to speak like a native. And you know what's the secret? Is you gotta think like a native. Let's move on to the next stage, which isn't as fun because it's for the ones who need to pass a language exam, such as TOEFL, IELTS, or TEF. Nothing is fun when exams are involved. But guess what? I found an ex-TEF examiner on italki. He knew everything about the test, like all the ins and outs. And guys, having a great coach that specializes in the exam can really speed up the preparation process. And maybe because he is in his 50s, but it was fascinating to learn about his values and his outlook for life. And in the end, became good friends too. To summarize, stage 1, learn the fundamentals, the pronunciation, the 3-year-old grammar, the 6-year-old vocabulary. And stage 2, find the right teacher. First, a teacher specializing in beginners. Second, someone who's fun to talk to. And lastly, if you need to pass an exam, find an ex-examiner who specializes in that test. There you have it, guys. 184 hours on italki plus countless hours of struggling is how I learned French in 6 months. If you guys want to try out italki, now you can use the code JC2024 and you'll get a $5 coupon. And if you guys want to know how to tackle each specific area, listening, reading, writing, and speaking, check out this video. And that's it for today, guys, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace and ciao.